O say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the boats bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? On the shore dimly seen through the mists of the deep, where the foe's haughty host in dread silence reposes, what is that which the breeze o'er the towering steep, as if fitfully blows, half conceals, half discloses? Now it catches the gleam of the morning's first beam, in full glory reflected, now shines on the stream. 'Tis the star-spangled banner, oh, long may it wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. When the land is illumined with liberty's smile, if a foe from within strikes a blow at her glory, down, down with the traitor that dares to defile the flag of the stars and the page of her story. By the millions unchained, good and birthright have gained, we will keep her bright blazon forever unstained, and the star-spangled banner in triumph shall wave, while the land of the free is the home of the brave. Oh, thus be it ever when freemen shall stand between their loved homes and the war's desolation, blessed with victory and peace. May the head rescue man raise the power that hath made and preserved us salvation. Then conquering us when our cause is just, and this be our motto, in God is our trust, and the star-spangled banner with triumph shall wave.
That's landscape. So all you gotta do is press start. You know how to go start?
No, it's good. It's on.
Live?
Mhm.
Okay. We live?
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, we in Brooklyn, and it ain't over.
Jesus matters. We're taking our country back. We're taking it back. And let me tell you something. The police need our help. They can't stand alone. Don't just sit by idly and watch your country go to the ground. Stand with your police force. Vote for Trump. Vote Republican. Vote for Christians and stand up Christians.
The ungodly, demonic, antichrist people out of this nation, please.
In Jesus' name. Hey guys, I just want to encourage you guys to pray. Just pray for us right now. Pray for the officers. Pray for what we're doing right now. We doing it for Jesus. We doing it for every single life out there, including Black lives. We doing it for all the Black lives that Black Lives Matter doesn't stand up for. Even Don Lemon said it in the news. He said it himself to Terry Crews that Black Lives Matter is not about what happens to Black lives in the hood. It's not about what happens to any other Black lives except the ones that they feel earn them money, clearly. So we doing it for Christ right now, y'all. We hidden everywhere. So pray for us, guys. Please pray for us. In Jesus' name.
Open is that? Oh, right here. You gotta take the top all the way off.
I took some tops off of some.
Yeah, that one has a top off. That's two. Try to grab. We're gonna grab 3 a person.
Yeah, it'll be rough. Let me grab this.
Let's go. I know. But we gotta move slow, like faster. Like we cruising right now.
We cruising, y'all.
We gotta move quick. Like this. Come on.
This one is
Open
open.
this one. Ah. Let's turn on. Yeah, I got it.
Hey, just pray for us. That's all we asking for. Pray for us, y'all. Pray for us.
You got that one?
There's a lot of people here. Just pray for us.
Can you do it?
No, it's gonna spill. It's gonna spill.
You got one? You got a roller?
Yeah, I got a
Put that
roller.
under your arm.
The roller?
Yes.
No, it's
Put that under your arm.
fine like that.
Oh, no, you have it. No, I didn't see. I didn't see you had it. I need mine. Let's go. We're gonna at least cover the word Black.
Let's go.
Follow behind her. Be ready to pull up.
Let's go, y'all. Let's go, y'all.
What's free? Free is when nobody else can tell us what to be. Free is when it's see. So my niggas out here true. All the fame, you know I stay true. Pray my niggas stay free. Made a few mistakes, but this ain't where I wanna be. Before I'm judged by 12, what the fuck on my feet?
They're killing us.
So my niggas got
Killing us. They're killing our people. They're killing our people. Black lives don't matter. They don't like us people. They funded Black men to die. We're dying right now because they got police. We're dying right now. We're the number one.
I can't understand a word they're saying. Some bitch. That's hard. That's hard. That's so hard. All lives matter. Uh-oh. I can feel it. You feel it? Feel it? All right. I got to figure out a way to listen to this. So I got to put headphones on.
People. Black lives don't matter. They don't like us people. They funded Black men to die. We're dying right now because they got police. We're dying right now. We're the number our babies. They hate us. That's not the right thing. That's the right thing. That's the right thing. They hate us. They kidnap people. They hate us. They hate us. They hate us. They hate us. Wake up.
I heard that. Wake up. All right. Yeah, if I was playing crayons, I'd be worried about somebody throwing me, the crayon, out of the box. So, it's interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, thanks for the left turn, Buckshot. I was zeroing in on something else in my mind. You sent me that link and took me a total left turn. The left turn. Another left. Another left. So NASCAR is all about turning, right? So if you do the other side turn, if you do the opposite type of turn, can you compete with them? Yeah, Buckshot, I'm telling you. I have yet to have anybody who tells me they supports the old, what do they call that? Marxist movement. Well, when people have asked me my opinion on it, and I asked them, have you read the mission statement? That's all. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's the mission statement. All right. Doo-doo. All right. Up the pot. Thanks, Buckshot. Dear Lord, thank you for another day. I appreciate the coffee that I have in my cupboard. I appreciate everything that you've allowed me to do so that I can do your work. I can fulfill your vision. I ask you for the wisdom and thank you for sending the Holy Ghost. Yeah, well, you know, battleships are on fire. Churches are on fire. You know, you're not allowed to congregate. Everybody wears the face covering so you can't speak to your neighbor. We're all imprinting in our minds sickness. We're going to live in a sterile environment. Yep. Imagine how nervous they are. You know, it's not like crayons don't kill each other. You know, there's only allowed 64 crayons. No, 128. Now we're going back. Now we're going to go down to how many crayons? This, 3 crayons. Is it going to be like going to a really cheap diner and all you get is 3 crayons? Yep. The 3 crayon. Can they bring it down to 3 crayons? No, they got it down to 2. You need 3. You got to look at the logo here. Prism Live. That's who's doing it. It got an imprint. Beverly Beatty. Prism Live Studio. You need 3. Yep. The Dot. Right? First, there's nothing, then there's the Dot, then there's the woman, and then there's the child. Give me one miracle, man, and I will explain the world to you. That's all it takes is one miracle. And then it's over. Speaking of miracles, Buckshot, medically speaking, Greg Hunter just had an interview he released. I'm going to keep them on the back burner, man. All right. Right there. Right there. Right there. Red carpet. Look. Day 2 of extraordinary in-person EU summit at Rupli, and it's a red carpet, baby. Yeah, man. There's no elitism going on. Yeah. You know, if me and a neighbor get together, we can vote your property away. Well, I mean, you know, when there's only 3 of us involved, 2 of us can take your property if we want. Question is are we willing to risk our lives? Maybe we should get 3 or 4 and then we'll hire somebody to do it for us. It can't be cheap to go take somebody's property. I mean, you know. You got to pay them. You got to pay them. You got to pay people. Or convince them to do like-kind exchanges. Do in-kind exchange. For those who heard about the Black Lives Matter protest in Richmond, where Kim Gray had an issue with people showing up there at her house for 15 minutes, putting pieces of paper on her fence. She let them know in her own extraordinary way that her house is off limits. You're not allowed to go to her house. So she sent out the command through the newspapers and explained to them that she knew that people out there who organized and were a part of the crowd that showed up at her front door, maybe they just wanted to have tea with you. You should have invited them in. There will be no front porch politics with Miss Gray. She said no, but she does have. She does give money to Act Blue, and she gives money to the Richmond Democrat Party. She receives consulting in exchange from pretty expensive people. She's spending thousands on that. Greg. I don't know why I don't see it. USA Watch Dog. And for those on FM 102.3, you can go to the link at the pay dirt at dlive.tv/madworld and then go to the About tab at the below the video, and you can click on pay dirt, and the link to this courageous drive-by painting is in there in the library for all of you. Spread that library far and wide. It contains some precious worthy stuff publicly, because one day it could get taken down. You know, it's a small startup. It's dingo.com. Let me see, I'll go to my groups. I want my hit enter first. Too many things for me to do. I'm very disturbed over this mask issue. Yeah. Greg Hunter. Yeah, there you go. Chris Martenson. Now he is pro-mask.
I'm Greg Hunter. What?
Yeah, there he is. I'm going to cut to about there.
Are out into the countryside. So we've been watching that unfold for a while. I think that trend has just started, and it's going to continue for a long time because people are going to default to control. I would like to control my future a little bit. I want to make sure that my stored wealth doesn't go to zero.
All right. Chris Martenson has come on to talk about the 2021 trend, which Gerald Celente put that in as part of the 2021 trends today. So he's developing his 2021 trend book. So, flush it down the toilet. Yeah, that's what these girls are doing here. They're trying not to get flushed down the toilet. The Brooklyn drive-by painting babes, which, you know, even that guy who seems to be within their space, I guess he's trying to intimidate them, or he's trying to figure out what they're doing. He doesn't seem to be showing support, because if he was, he'd pick up the paint can and adding paint to it. Nobody's run over there so far. There's 7 minutes, 30 seconds of this video, and I'm only 442. Yeah, baby. That reminds me of a car. And this guy right here, he yammers on. He's pro-mask. But I have a problem with the mask, and that is that prolonged use is a dirty nappy. My buddy said that. Who's my buddy? Where is he? My buddy said that. I have one too many tabs open. Moloch in the Bible. David Icke. David Icke just put out a new video. Oh. Here, get in touch with TCS Technologies. Right here. I'm going to stick it in the... These guys are the ones who build the 222 nanometer lamps. I got a call with them on Monday. We'll find out what the lead time is, or if they even have the materials. And if I have to, I will source the materials myself that they need. So, you know, I'm willing. It's time for me to stick my nose into things. I sent people down I sent a lot of people in this direction, but I'm not seeing what I wanted out of the 222 nanometer. 222 nanometer UV. See, you guys can't see this, but I'm right now building tags for it. And dude, you just got to start collecting them as you can. Take them out of tills. I know people who are doing it. Anybody holding a note, that's exactly what it is. And a note can be forgiven. And since these people, they're convinced that they can sign a piece of paper and void the contracts with you, you know, and they say they're willing to use guns to keep you from enforcing a contract. They're in defensive mode. They're pivoting now. So the big issue, there's a push in Virginia. People were telling me rumors. I've checked the governor's site, and he hasn't changed any orders yet. So my exemption carries weight, but we got organizations who are it's telling you can't walk through their doors, but they're offering curbside pickup, and everybody should utilize curbside pickup with Walmart. Just tell them you're using cash, because they can't make that a condition of your handicap, because if you don't wear a mask, you're not sick, and if you're not sick, you're handicapped in our society now, because the sick have taken over. It is the new norm is illness. We are living in the ill society of black hearts, and all black hearts are sick. They're ill. So you have a disability now if you're well. It doesn't compute in their world, because as far as their diabolical plan was, they have contaminated the entire world. And so everybody's now, as far as they're concerned, identifiable as ill and can be quarantined. They can even be ankle bracelet. They'll put an ankle bracelet in Kentucky on you, because it's about the contract, and they want you to agree to be ill. So, and the nappy is an agreement of illness. All right. I have added to the library PayDirt. If you want to get there, you go to dlive.tv/madworld, all one word. 102.3 FM, the Village of Mount Solon, Virginia, is live. It's the go to the home church. So everybody, you guys need to get together and talk and what have you, and socialize and decide, are you going to allow churches and religious, getting rid of an idol is kind of Puritan, and it's like smashing the cow. So, but anyway, the burning of people's property and destroying people's property is not okay, because it's just not in America. America is not. We're not about that. But the black hearts who are now ill have become unglued. The black hearts. I just Anyway, yeah, Puritans. Right? Did you see the video about how many people were slaves all over the world prior to the United States going out and starting to crush it? When Thomas Jefferson decided that he was not going to have it, where people were going to be grabbed and pressed into slavery. Being pressed into slavery, the Puritans, I don't know if they got pressed into slavery. Did they fight? I hope so. Hope they took God's commandment of the gift to protect it. Yeah, the masks. So you go to dlive.tv/madworld, and at the About tab, you'll see a picture. And anybody who's here in the Village of Mount Solon, you'd recognize the picture on the left. And then PayDirt is the one where you have 3 minds connecting. And that's the library. That's the thing they're destroying as fast as they can. The people who don't have a disability are destroying all the all the knowledge. On my cat's out of the bag, I'm gonna put everything in jeopardy here, because at the library of diigo.com, dingo, diigo, hey, diigo, so 2 I's, diigo. Let me go to my group. I have a group that is open, so it's groups.diigo.com/group/ all one word, Mount Solon. It's free and open. You can see it right there, man. Free and open. And there you can see the manufacturer for the UV lamp, the Brooklyn drive-by painting. Yesterday there was a Fairfax stabbing at Grace Covenant Church in Virginia. The link to the story is there. I didn't cache that, even though I should be caching things, but it'll cost me more money. And the communists say get rid of the federal troops, but Antifa and the BLM are using pyrotechnics now and projectiles against the federal police. Now, if I see a black car jump out and grab somebody with military guys, and I figure they're just getting their that was a removal of one of their plants or informants, and the informant gave the signal, get me out of here. That's kind of what I'd see that as. So, of course, the federal prosecutor over there in Commie Land is is asked for an investigation from the Attorney General's office, or what do they call that? What's the investigator for each department? So all they are is cover-up artists. State Board of Elections, campaign finance reporting. Yep, I think this is. I've also linked to the Kim Gray for mayor. She's the one who had, quote, people come redress her at her house. And because she has children, it's just not allowed. But that's just too bad. She's an elitist. And you can go into the link there and you can see it. And here they are. You can download the reports, view reports. And in it, you can read about who gave her money and what have you, and see her connections. She has received Republican money too. So she's gotten money from Republicans, and then taken the money from Republicans and given it to Act Blue and into the Richmond Democratic Party. But in her public persona, in her about, she doesn't say anything about her communism. She is the mob. She's ruling. And Don Corleone, who's going to be mayor, Kim Gray, says, you're not going to come to my house. Don't do it again. Now, I read about it and everything like that, and I got told a story where they had been there all night, no police ever showed up, and woe is me. Then I read that 15 minutes people said a few things to her, and then put signs on it, on her fence, and left. And according to the police, they had overwatched the entire time. There was no need to intervene, and they weren't going to go they weren't going to tell people that they couldn't walk past her house. So it's a very interesting situation. She says she works with some of these people. This Kim Gray for mayor, she works with them. So it's the police and her must be at odds. When the police are maybe letting her know that, you know, people can get close and there's nothing they're going to do. Yeah, you don't own the sidewalk, lady. I know a whole bunch of people voted for you. You're on, you know, you're on the council or what have you. And you've been in the school board. And you're going to, you got the power to void contracts. And so you're voiding contracts, and you know that you might just void the wrong contract and somebody might try to void your contract. And so you're afraid of people. That would be reasonable. So that's why you called the police. Instead of having your assistant or whoever ring the people telephone you knew out in front of your house and say, what the fuck are you guys doing? Hey? But, so, now if I was running for governor, you can come on up here to the square, 102.3 FM, the village of Mount Sullivan, Virginia. Come on down here. You see the big window open? Ring the bell if I'm not there. I'm in the yard. I'll come talk to you. And by the way, if this drought's hitting you too hard, I just got a whole bunch of rain. So I'm willing to give away some of the rain that I received last night. It was enough to overwhelm everything for a few minutes. So, you know, I was going to take I had a picture and I didn't capture it of the rain clouds from my weather website that I use. So, with all this tying into, profits are to be made in the 222 nanometer spectrum because we can sterilize everything. Now, I know that's going down the memory hole for everybody. I am encouraged because I did see somebody go ahead and advertise on YouTube locally that you too can get an RGF REME H-Halo Induct Air Purifier. That purifier puts out a plasma and uses blue light. The next version of this, which will make everything in there completely compatible with you being under it, would be the 22 nanometer light. So you would walk into a box with an RGF REME H-Halo Induct Air Purifier in the ventilation system, pumping in fresh air that is clean by this, and being in the 222 nanometer light spectrum. With that technology, you too could run an InfoWars type website. The question is, can we get the materials? So everybody should have one. Right now, the last one that sold, let's see. eBay. Currently, this is very cheap. It's $500. So it's $500 plus the cost of some guy to show up and put it on your system. And there's enough handyman around to do it. And everybody has 110. Well, not everybody, but anyway, 110 to control your blowers. So, and you want it to run whenever the blower's running. And it shuts off. Now, I rather I am a keep the light on type guy, but the light turns off. Keep the light on all the time. Replace the light periodically. So I am a UV light. Keep it on until it burns out. Very rarely they burn out within a year, and the only reason that they get really bad is because dirt gets on them and they need to be cleaned off. But they do lose their intensity. I need the subject matter increased in size. Incised. Uh-oh. What does that mean? Buckshot, I don't understand your comment, but sometimes we're running our own show. I was on Liberty Tree Radio Discord, and I was having conversation through Discord with what Mark was saying on the radio, and it took Buckshot there, the window with the light. Yep. Let me see. So I can see better. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, I didn't want you to spy on this. This is where I tell you about something, and you have to go to the links to figure it out. But here, I'll just pull this out. There you go. Now you're getting a look into this window. And we'll cut Obama down to size, man. That's some bitch. He's just, I find it hilarious. Let's see. There you go. There's Obama's I Spy. I'll make this even bigger. Barack Obama, I Spy. I know it's the joke is old. It's an old joke now. Yeah. And so the people who are supporting Black Lives Matter have convinced Republicans to wear masks and start to enforce it. This wearing a mask. It's true, though. I Spy, of course. Yeah, this guy who Greg Hunter interviews has solipsistic. Nah, he's over optimistic, and I suspect he'll say, "I choose not to believe it." And he's for masks. He thinks that the remarks that were made about wearing a mask for just 5 to 8 weeks, we would wipe out coronavirus. Well, that's fine and dandy in his fantasy. But my fantasy is that these guys who are the psychological operation people have the benefit of this chart here and the Chinese information, because China is still working with the United States of America, and all these ties. The only thing that's been severed is our supplies to non-approved manufacturing. They're flushing out the small people's. The inventory is disappearing out of the small up to the large. Now, the large still is able to supply in other parts of the world, because I watch other YouTubers from different continents, and they seem to be okay and having plenty of materials coming in and what have you. So they're being restocked, while the small guys here in the United States of America, they're selling out to the public and not getting anything back in at times. I received only 2 RGF REMEs. 2. So, if you need an RGF REME and you're in the village of Mount Solon, Virginia, stop on by. We can badger something up. You know, in like exchanges, right? Then I'll have to put it on my report. If you're running for governor, you gotta have a report. So if I have a report of in-like exchanges, oh my. It's true though, yeah. Oh, okay. I wonder what the delay is. All right, let's do the delay test. All right. It's 8:46:52. All right, 5 seconds. 5 to 7 seconds. Wah, wah. So they know, and everybody said it, and it was expected amongst the conspiracy theorists that the virus would dissipate. Now, the lockdown created the timeline for it dissipating. Then we had this huge spike in people dying because they kicked everybody out of the hospitals and did not do any elective surgery. They just cut everything off. And then everything that came in and died was coronavirus. There was a fraud, so they mislabeled it. So and I have to agree with what this gentleman said, this Chris Martenson, who was interviewed by Greg Hunter, in his affiliation is USA Watchdog. You can get to this video right here. I'm adding it right now. Chris Martenson, USA, and it's Watchdog. Well, we can go watch and then dog. Yep. Now he's an egghead who specializes in viruses and he's a pathologist, I think. But anyway, you can listen to the interview. His credentials are given in the beginning of it. If you can. Anyway, he says a couple things that I agree with and jives with the knowledge that I have. And he says the only statistic that's worth anything to us at this point, because everything else has been laced with fraud, is mortality. So the morbidity rate right now. So we had this huge spike up in morbidity, and you can see that in my prior videos from Ivan Cummings, and he's in the library. You can see the morbidity charts. So we had this huge spike up. Right, okay. You emptied out the hospitals. You weren't treating people, except for if they said, I had COVID. So, and then a whole bunch of people died. And so, to be expected. He doesn't mention why they died. It was lifeboat. And so we're dealing with people following through because of their lifeboat training in school. And lifeboat, you can Google it, or DuckDuckGo, or you can be a Russian about it. You can Russian about it. Be a Russian. Yeah, man, be a Russian. Russian. Be a Russian. Do you spy? I spy. Of course I spy. Everything that goes through my eye, I have spied. Dum da da dum da dum da da dum da da dum da 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 da. I feel sorry for Emmett. He got hijacked on FM. Yeah, on Channel 3 here in Harrisonburg. They asked him if he beat his wife today. Hey, Emmett, did you beat your wife today? No. Yeah, right. Yes or no? Now yes or no? Should people follow the recommendation of a bureaucrat out of the federal government? Yes or no? Emmett's a bureaucrat. He's a politician. He's not armored for this. He doesn't have the you know what? We need some data, and I look forward to seeing the data he's using to support his hypothesis, his belief. Because they're not using that word. You know, they're using believe. I put a request in to my relative to send me an article that I read, only the paragraph. And it had to do with there's scientific proof masks are effective. And that's, I will contend, I laugh at it. It's to be expected because the chart says so. And that chart from the CDC shows us that in a viral infection, that into July, it goes down, flattens out, and comes back at the end of September and into October. But that's with people who were not compromising their immune system, except for in war. You know, 1918. Was there a food shortage or anything? I can't necessarily compare the July to the end of August, September, as what people were doing by compromising their immune system at this point. Because everybody who wears a mask is wearing a mask pretending they don't want to get ill. Because we no longer are able to identify ill people in our society because everybody's wearing a mask. So we have now removed one of our social cues. They've taken this. They've taken the opposite mentality that if you're well, you'll wear a mask and go out in public. Well, let me see. Who wore masks in 2016? Oh yeah, the soldiers attacking people who were supporting Trump. So the soldiers who were supporting Trump wore masks. So now maybe this is just brilliant on Trump's part at this point, and he's telling all soldiers, if you're going to support me, come to my show, wear a mask. That way, everybody who fights is all masked up. So, you know, so I wouldn't wear just a mask like that if I'm going to a fight, because it's you're going to get hit with a biological weapon. So you need to be protected from a biological weapon. So I'm not going to go into battle with a dirty nappy. If I'm going to wear a mask in public, I'm going to wear a mask and helmet, and I'm carrying a stick. And that stick is my 6-foot stick. And you ain't coming 6 feet near me, man. If we're gonna LARP and we're gonna role play, I'm gonna treat you people wearing nappies, as you are sick. I'm well, so I'm gonna wear something that will protect me. I'm not gonna pretend that I should die to save your life. A Buckshot, you are one old motherfucker. If he was your buddy, is your buddy, that means he's still alive. Buckshot's telling me about the anniversary where the people who are right now destroying churches and have every single American in a queue. Every American is now in the queue. And the queue is where you are for elimination. So you get an elimination score. They're calling it social score. They're going to call it a virus pass or a COVID passport. You're all in the queue. Everybody's in the queue now. If your phone has gone out and danced with other people's phone, you're in the queue. Unless you're using burner phones, you're in the queue. Ha ha, queue. And that's the irony from Star Trek, calling it the queue. I understand what it means. Q has infinite knowledge and capability to manipulate things. And that's why they call the Q, Anon, QAnon. I mean, it's brilliant. Everything that plays out today has already been written about, and then actors played their parts for the Black Mirror. And it's the Black Hearts. People follow these scripts because they work. They work and they work and they work. What are people going to do when Netflix disappears? Math Power Land, whatever. There's this artist turned comedian. As an artist, and he worked on canvas. He did paintings, and he would paint the images that NASA releases for our consumption, because NASA doesn't release any cosmos or planetary information to us that isn't manipulated. It's all scientifically manipulated. So Matt could listen to a scientist and draw it. So a scientist would describe the scene and Matt could draw it. That's Disneyland. NASA took a page out of Disney, how to run a studio. No different than Warner Brothers and then, Woody Woodpecker. I mean, come on, guys. No, I do not know. Buckshot, that's wishful dreaming. That's very wishful dreaming. Buckshot's putting out the idea that if Nicholas was still alive, there would have been no World War II. The question becomes is, which philosophy is willing to exterminate the other? And that's what this is what it boils down to. And right now, the conservatives are solipsistic. They refuse to believe that the Bolsheviks in the United States of America would wipe them out. They can wipe you out clandestinely by sending your children to a foreign land. They can do it within the cities. All right. I totally get why this occurred. Oh, she's wearing a mask. No, she's not wearing a mask. She's wearing her black war stripes, so she could be identified. You know what? To be honest with you, there's no way that I would allow them to, if they were related to me, to go out there and do that without Overwatch. You know, these people are guarding these other people harassing them. They're guarding it. Not very well though. They're going to be eliminated. Those people right there, I mean, you know, if you're corralled, you can be eliminated. You can be eliminated.
No, I'm doing the wrong thing.
What they do?
And these people are corralled. This woman right here painting over that does not want to antagonize people to come and eliminate them from the crayon box. Can't all the crayons just exist together in the same box? And each crayon will bring to the table their special gift. Come on, man. Stop the crayons. Yeah, I know that, Buckshot. Buckshot, the people who have no bail, arrest and release, and then so it's pressure above, pressure below, and then they're telling everybody that we'll put you in jail, or ruin your life if you don't compromise your immune system. It's pretty expensive to do masks properly, and to have people even suggest that in your own house you should be 24/7 with a mask. Look, there's no way in hell I'd be working in a facility of any type where I had to wear a mask all day. You want me to wear a mask all day because you're worried about something? You need to provide me with ventilation. I'm sorry. There's OSHA rules for that shit. And, I don't know where people get the idea that oh yeah, I forgot. There are no contracts anymore. We are in anarchy. It's just everybody hasn't realized it yet. Wow. Well, yeah, people, right. And not all breeds of canine act the same. They don't all have the same temperament. Their packs all don't operate the same. Yeah, well, it depends on the size of the wolf packs, I imagine. And the lone wolves have to go out and carve a territory out. So they've got to go steal some babes. They got to prove themselves worthy of babes. So it's an ever-evolving ecosystem. But we can manage it, wiping out some of the wolves here and some of the wolves there, going in and getting rid of the female so there's less breeding. So we can manage the wolves. We are stewards. Dear Lord, thank you for the earth. Thank you for this morning's breath. Thank you for the rain last night, even though I got stressed. And thank you. Thank you for Buckshot. And Buckshot, thank you for passing along this link here. I'm actually gonna save this to my personal drive here. See, they're gonna come for me because of my library. I have my books here. I have the history of the world. I have a pretty well-rounded history. So Emmett, as soon as they bring up questions like that, you need to throw it right back at the reporter and say, sounds like a good idea. I'd like to see the data on the effectiveness of something like that. And I then can probably get behind it if it shows that it's effective. But it's not. We're going into the flu season. So people are going to start getting their flu shots. They're going to be wearing the nappy. They don't practice nappy hygiene because they've been lulled. They've been believed that how they've been operating with their nappies is effective because the people who told them to wear a nappy already saw that it was going down. See, they didn't tell you to wear a nappy before it reached its peak or at its peak. They did exactly what I told you was going on back in a video where they first told you to wear a nappy in Virginia. You can go back and look at my video on YouTube for Mad World. You can get to the link from DLive. So you go dlive.tv/madworld on the About tab. Underneath Digging a Hole is my P.O. box. And then I give chatting in my mind only to shout into the void. The black mirror. That's what I'm doing. I'm shouting into the black mirror. And you can get to my link to my website which it's automatic. So it's just updating the position for YouTube videos. That's all it's doing. It actually operated properly at first where it put up the YouTube video onto the blog post, but that part broke. I don't know if it broke because I didn't pay him enough or what have you, but I think I bought the program. Anyway, underneath that of the website address, the madworld.com is the YouTube link, and my channel does not have a catchy name. So you can go down there. It's an archive. I'm not doing this to be promoted. I'm doing this so that I can plant seeds in people's minds. So that as they get information, they can jive it. People who interact with me here in the Valley and elsewhere, they know. I told them that they'd be wearing nappies before nappies were even discussed. Back when nappies were being told that, hey, wearing a nappy, if you're well, doesn't do any good. That's the truth of the matter. That's what the science says. So they knew, the ones that could read charts like me, because, they know based on the weapon, because the flu from 1918 was a weapon. And this weapon created a chart for you to follow. So they waited till the top and it was on its way down. They know they were going into summer. They knew what was going to happen. They knew that. They knew that this was going to happen. All the data was created so that this was the chart. Donald Trump thwarted their mission when he said, everybody stand in the place that you live. Yeah. then, you know, do a little dance, but don't get close to anybody. Create a 6-foot circle. REM is prophetic, man. Those SOBs knew. You know, they're all tied in with that info. Everybody with a brain knows that this goes back through time. And through time. Through time. And they laid it out. There's one guy out there, I haven't found the source, who makes the claim that in 1974, the World Economic Forum laid out the macro desire and how they were going to manipulate financially the world. And he says that from this date to 2025, when the next update at Deagle.com is, we're gonna be running the pandemic and epidemic. He's a retired captain. And of course, when you no longer toe the mob rules narrative, they start to financially hurt you. So he lost his pension because of his pie hole. You know, you can commit treason. It's A-okay. You keep your pension. All right, guys. 9 o'clock. My plan is survey. I have not seen the traffic that is normally going on down here at the square when we had church, when people were congregating. It's hot enough, everybody should be at their facilities congregating. But Christians aren't congregating, but they're being blamed. Churches are being burned. The people who support the Democrats are demonizing Christians and Orthodox Jews right now. They're doing it. And they are ginning up the first round in the queue. See, all the people who were already sick, that was the first round of the queue that died in the big spike. So the big spike in morbidity, which we suffered, and Greg Hunter's interview with this medical doctor, Chris Martenson, he agrees. Now he doesn't discuss the plummet, and then because they killed so many people who were in the queue for death further out, because you know their estate would have been milked for a little bit more money by the medical system. So all that did to me was, when I saw the huge spike down and then it fell below the average of morbidity, that doctors kill. They kill people. They kill people, and people were strung along, and there was more of an, outside of the flu shot season. So when the flu shot season, you have two seasons. You have school start, flu shot season. So, and then the children are given different shots, and they're carriers, and then they get around people whose immune system isn't as healthy as it once was, and then they get sick and they die. So, you know, you have the flu shot season, which is going into the schools. So Donald Trump is right now promoting schools starting. So to have the Democrats, they're torn at that point. Democrats are hating it because they know that they have to have the children in their facility in order to continue the fraud. So with schools not going on in classrooms and people are doing autodidactic incel, it was very interesting. The lady who talked on Alex Jones the other day, and anybody who listens to Alex Jones knows that here on 102.3 FM, the Village of Mount Solon, you can hear him live from noon till 4. I'm going to switch the slot on 4. I'm pulling Rivero. I'm going to put something else in there. Anyway, there's an opening for a 4 p.m. show on 102.3 FM. If you're interested in doing your own show for an hour prior to the intelligence report, just come down to the square and let me know. Anyway, the lady talking about incels said that they're autodidactic, self-learning. You know, to call yourself autodidactic is not the same as being brainwashed. They're programmed. And then, you know, right? They're sitting in their basement. They're surfing the internet. They haven't had any formal training in how to learn. So they're not autodidactic. They're programmed. And then of course they stay within their program. They don't go outside of their program. So they're not actually learning. They're just repeating. And they're in a loop. And so, you know, autodidactic would mean that if they would be out of their basements if they were autodidactic, because they'd learn a skill and earn some ducats that way. Yeah, they wouldn't feel all hopeless. You know, what I find a shame is that children spend so much time in school that if it wasn't a mind-destroying operation, everybody would come out as an 18-year-old with a rounded education. You know, they're not teaching them how to learn. And we got to just send the ones that aren't going to fit into learning how to learn back to their parents, and their parents are going to have to deal with it. But, you know, cost sharing. Yeah, you know, crowdfunding. That's what Democrats are. They're the greatest crowdfunders. And they like to do it with a gun. So, you know, they pull at your heartstrings to send somebody with a gun to give them money to help people they told you about. A lot of times, though, they create those people. Everybody who died in the spike of the United States of America died when the hospitals were cleared out. That was part of their death rate. That's why the spike. Not all of them had to die. Some of them could have been fruitful for many years. Hey, Buckshot, get yourself a tone generator switcher, and then you too could cut your phone line and keep a small community happy. I don't know if they got rid of all the local guys here. No, leaders, no. Leadership's not going to matter at this point. People are cowards. The nappy shows cowardly. Look, if they're more afraid of their neighbor than the virus itself, because if they were afraid of the virus, they would have washed their hands when they walk into the store. They would stay 6 feet away from people. No, they're afraid of their neighbors. They're afraid that their neighbor will be able to get enough people together to shoot them. They're cowards. I'm very happy that I live in an area where I see the occasional tourist come through wearing a mask. I don't see anybody wearing a mask riding their bike recently. So that's good, you know. Campgrounds are open. So you can come on up here, but it's a risk you have to be willing to take, because you can't get a campground up and around through here without indemnifying the campground, saying, hey, if somebody comes in and they're sick and they spread virus, you got to figure out who they are and go after them. Because if you're sick, if the two women, all right, this Chris Martinson's, I've started to look at his YouTube channel. I hadn't paid attention to him in the past because he disqualified himself. He disqualifies himself during interviews to me. But he does have an trained expertise to follow orders in a certain field of science, and I wanted to. They did not talk about masks in the Greg Hunter interview, because this guy's advocating masks, but nobody's advocating how to use masks. There's no education to people of what masks do what. It's just not happening. People were putting on their nappies and you know, buckshot. You know that certain products break down from human exhaust. You know, so. Oh, you're going higher into Adirondacks. See, the higher you go, especially if you're not acclimated, higher you go, the more effect you're going to have on the lungs. And this guy here, Martinson, hypoxia affects the lungs, restricting the airway, and then rebreathing your exhaust affects your lungs, your heart, and your brain. This virus attacks the lungs, the kidneys, the heart, and the brain. Well, hypoxia affects the brain, the neurological system. And my friend, I consider him a friend. A friend is someone you know where they stand. And as long as you don't cross them and you don't rewrite the contract you have, and you know that if you rewrite it, you're going to end the friendship. And he knows that about you. And there's no trespass. And friendship isn't something you earn over a week. You know, you have to become fast friends and give a lot away in certain circumstances. But anyway, you know, fast friends is not a friend. Friendly. His nerves are gone. His nerves are shutting down, and he has. I think he's suffering. Well, in my humble opinion, and it makes me very sad, that the nappy is accelerating his demise. And that's what it's designed to do. So if you're not sick with the COVID and you're not sick breathing, I'm not talking about people who have handicaps because they've been injured and what have you, but your injuries and your diet from the past has caused immune issues. When you wear the nappy, the more you wear the nappy, the faster you're going to deteriorate. All right? The nappy accelerates deterioration. Anytime you get any less oxygen and more CO2, and you make your lungs have to work harder, and this virus, God help you if you caught the virus. If you had a pneumonia November, December to January into January of this year, a lot of people telling me that they think they had the bioweapon. Well, the bioweapon, according to Chris Martenson, and he's one who is capable of discerning and reading studies. He's also capable of ignoring things too, but his wheelhouse is viral. So he's in his wheelhouse there. And he says the virus attacks. You can listen to this interview with Greg Hunter and this guy. The virus attacks lungs, heart, neurological, kidneys. And if you have just one kidney, and when I say it attacks, it gets in there. And then there's evidence that was put out that it grows tentacles and holds on to a organ type cell and hides there while shedding all the time. And once your body no longer can deal with it shedding, it's off to the races. And so if you caught the fall into the fall winter pneumonia, and you were hit by a bioweapon by a soldier, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, you're not going to get me to sign a piece of paper to get me to think something else. It's a bioweapon. And the only way bioweapons get out is when soldiers let it out. And everybody who's working on that bioweapon are soldiers. Okay? So the soldiers let it out. And then we have anecdotal evidence of people bragging that they're going to spread it or spreading it. And we have recent anecdotal evidence that people are gathering to catch it. Well, they're catching something that's going to kill them in the end. So they're suicide bombers. They're solipsistic. They don't believe that this thing has the capability of nesting into your kidney, nesting in your lungs, nesting in your heart, nesting in your neurological system. They're solipsistic. They don't believe it, or they're willing to accept it to do their part to usher in the black heart. All right. Now, this is a public service announcement. Nobody's talking about the fact that I've got 54 in my chest. When you go to DLive DLive.tv and you sign up and you become a member, they have their own cryptocurrency. And this cryptocurrency can be used elsewhere, and eventually you can get money from it. As in, you can convert it to the useless fiat currencies of other nations. So you want to create an account, and then when you go and watch a DLive program, the person who is running the DLive program can give away this cryptocurrency. And you can show your appreciation for these people by giving them cryptocurrency. Okay? And the success of the cryptocurrency depends on the velocity of the cryptocurrency, what you get for it, and what have you. So, you go there, create an account, go watch a show, and you can get a chest opened up. Now, I'm going to go ahead and open my chest at 9:45. All right? At 9:45, I'm going to open my chest. I've got, so, and I know that there's only one person who's watching it right now. People generally don't surf it anymore. When there was a lot of surfing activity when PewDiePie came, because I came with the PewDiePie crowd. I watched that. There are people who come here to DLive, and DLive removes videos, by the way. So just so you know. I had a 4-hour video that disappeared pretty quickly. So they do disappear stuff. I think there is a crowd of, oh, kill the messenger. But I'm just doing what I do naturally, and that is I'm investigating the world around me all the time. I don't know why anybody gets lost into video games, because the best video game is occurring right now with Brooklyn drive-by painting. So if you're listening at 102.3 FM, the Village of Mount Solon, Virginia, you can go to DLive.tv, create an account, and you've got roughly, according to my Seth Thomas collector's nautical compass looking clock, it's on a gimbal, you have 11 minutes on my analog quartz clock. I can go look at my computer. I'm gonna click away that chest, and it's a thank you to everybody who comes and watches. You know, you're returning. DLive used to give away the lemons. You get your lemon balance, because it's called lemon balance because the smallest denominator is 1, and they call that a lemon. Well, it's better than nothing. And Buckshot is given plenty of lemons. So right now he's the only one in the house. So I imagine that he's going to be somewhere stable, because at 9:45 I click it. I can't give it away again for a certain amount of time. They prevent that. They as in the people who programmed DLive.tv have rules. All programs have rules. So, but hey, if you want a governor who will swear, not in Richmond, up here on his porch, to do the work of the good people of Virginia and enforce the first 6 and 7th articles, paragraphs of the Virginia Constitution, come on down here, give me $1. Give me $1. Then I'll give you an affidavit that you can take to the local notary, and on election day, you submit that, and you record, and you submit it down at the courthouse here in Augusta County, or in whatever county or municipality that you're in. But in order to get an affidavit, you come down here and give me $1, and I'll give you an affidavit. And you can put my name or anybody else's name in that you want. I'm not going to pre-fill it out for you. You can put any name you want in on that. Okay? You can do that. Anybody's name. Take it down to the courthouse and sign it in front of the clerk, and then put it into the file in the county. And then that right there is a true election. You're not voting. You're using an affidavit. And I promise, under the pains and penalties of perjury, to enforce the first 7 parts of the Virginia Constitution. I will do all I can for life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. And my job as governor is to make sure that nobody steals or trespasses. I don't care what sob story you have. The good people of Virginia take care of their own. And if you're deserving of their sympathy, they'll take care of you. Absolutely. You know, I don't know. Maybe we'll be walking people to the border. We'll ask you, okay, Maryland, West Virginia, North Carolina, or you know what? You go out 10 miles to whatever our coastal sovereignty is, you can swim out on the ocean. You know, whatever, man. Some people are just going to be asked to leave because you're not one of the good people. You can't help but trespass, and whatever excuse you give yourself for destroying the contract. Yeah. Look, we have common law precedents to take sick people and take care of them and put them up. We can't take you if you're sick and we're going to put you up. We can't steal from you. So we'll make accommodations because there is the Americans with Disability Act, and we're not allowed to discriminate against you, which means diminish or steal from you. But we can protect ourselves from you if you're ill. Now, if you're wearing a mask in my world, you're ill. I know to stay away from you. So I will treat you. If you come to me with a mask on, there's a 6-foot pole. I have my father's sword, who has his. I can. And my father received it from a relative. I got a 6-foot sword, so I can pokey at 6 feet. So there's no reason for you to get 6 feet to me. You can come down here with whatever gun you want, but just knowing that behavior consequences. Everything has consequences. Now, I'm no gunslinger. I'm not pretending to be. But I will do everything for our pursuit as the good people of Virginia who want to interact in the common way. I will do everything I can for life, liberty, and your pursuit and my pursuit of property. Look, it brings me joy to watch people take their hard-earned time and capitalize. That's good. That is a good thing in this world. So I don't need to I don't have to go down to any board or anything like that and do paperwork to be governor. If you want me for governor, come down here, give me $1. You're buying an affidavit. And I will give you that affidavit, and you fill it out in front of a notary and turn it in to the courthouse. And you have all the way up until election day to file it with the county. You let me know that you filed with the county, and we can check it out. Everything will be verifiable. If your neighbor, if you're afraid of your neighbor knowing who you voted for, there's a reason for that, because you're trespassing. Be an elector, fill out an affidavit. It's not secret, it's public, because we have a commons. And I promise to protect the commons from pirates. I will do what Thomas Jefferson did, is I'll take the National Guard out at Stanton here. And those who will not follow orders will be removed, and we'll protect the commons. And we're going to protect the commons from black hearts. You have to be one of the good people to live here in Virginia. We're not for everybody. Look, the United States has a place for the black hearts and the bad people, evil people, or just people. But Virginia, our contract is about the good people. We have a preamble that says the good people, and it hasn't changed. Now, we're allowing people to tell you that their pen and a piece of paper allows them to rewrite the contract and hold you to it. I'm sorry, that's a mental illness. That's a big mental illness. Now, as governor, I will implement eating right. I will go after anybody selling a poison without disclosure. Look, if you want to use high fructose corn syrup, you need to sign a disclosure form, fill it out with the courthouse, and say, yeah, I accept high fructose corn syrup. I accept mercury. I accept it. It's irony that you people will use fluoride, yet are terrified of lead paint and lead. You're not allowed to own lead. Lead. No, no, Ed. Irony. Look, you don't want to be a Mad Hatter? PPP, baby. The good people of Virginia know how to protect themselves. Now, those are the things that matter. And as governor, that's the protection of life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. Nobody has a right to trespass. Nobody has a right to deceive another person in our capitalist republic. There's no protecting you. Look, you're going to use a campground. You don't have a right to sue the campground if somebody has COVID-19. The person with COVID-19 is responsible for their actions. They have agencies. There's no, the CDC, they've lied so many different times, NIH. I just saw the other day a report coming out of the federal bureaucracy that if I were to open this chest and give away these 54 lemons, there would be no asymptomatic spreaders. They said that there's no scientific proof at this point that it exists. They said that. I saw it. And then, of course, the next day, Snopes said they walked it back. What? No. They lied? No, they didn't lie. It is now 9:45, according to my Zeph Thomas Quartz from Japan clock, and I am distributing the rewards. You have 30 seconds from when I clicked, which now is 23, to collect the rewards. Good luck. to those who are here. 102.3 FM, the village of Mount Solon, Virginia. You haven't done it. Anyway, I'm using the common way to let you know here in the village, you too can set up your own FM conversation. You too can get a CB radio. You too can get a hand walkie-talkie. Yay! I have successfully distributed 54.2 lemons. Thank you, Buckshot. And Buckshot is continuing the velocity by giving back. Buckshot, go out and spread the good news. The link you gave me on the Brooklyn drive-by, thank you. It's worth those 54.2 lemons, which I could just, and if you want, yeah, you can just go to somebody's website and give them lemons. Here, man, here's some lemons. Anyway, so Chris Martenson has touched on points that I know right now to be going on. And unfortunately, things are going down the memory hole that what do you call it? Giving aid and comfort to the communism throughout the world that is doing this. They're planning on taking you down. You're going to get sick. And in order for, they want to have a hyper result. And if you look at the CDC website and their graph for the 1918-1919 flu, known as the Spanish flu, you'll see that there was a small lump coming into the height of the summer. It starts to go back, it bounced, it starts to go up slightly. So it's following the end of July, it starts to go up again, according to this. They're hastening it by now. Deaths, and this is just the flu. This isn't all deaths. And we don't know what the real numbers of deaths were because people died of the virus. We don't know. We do know that the Democrats and the Black Hearts absolutely went apeshit when they were given the command to use ventilators and none were available. And I think I read where in some areas these people knew that they could get new ventilators and so they sold theirs. So God has a weird way of using greed to save lives, because there would have been much more deaths. Doctors wouldn't have been treating a lot of the death that occur. They would have been treating deaths with alternative medicines if the ventilators were available. They would have just been following the script. And there are a lot of doctors who follow scripts. So when their practice gets a new, this is the procedure, our insurance says you got to do this in order for your insurance policy to stay in force. See, there's two things going on with doctors, everybody. It's their license and their insurance. And between the two, they've got control of the doctors right there. Now, that's how it works. So, and then you have, so pretty much it. So there's a lot of doctors who follow insurance guidelines and subscribe to software, and so you would be a lot of people who went to doctors and got therapy that was outside of the ventilators. Once it became ventilator use in the big corporate combines, if you notice, the corporate combines are the ones who were screaming, ventilate, 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 ventilate. Well, I just had a violent reaction. A cough and a sneeze. I just had myself a cough and a sneeze. And just imagine if I would have retarded that and kept all that stuff in my sinuses instead of clearing out and following through with my body's desire. Then I'd be on the road to being sick. It's funny. The time period, there were people who went out and poo-pooed the information that we were under a viral spread and didn't do what I suggested they do. And I distributed amongst family members charcoal-based masks that had a high particulate removal. In other words, I gave them a gas mask that wasn't 100% gas mask because you'd have to fit it to your face, but it was a high probability of survival mask if you didn't hyperventilate. And it also killed volatile organic compounds. Yep, that's what you needed. They didn't wear it. They didn't use them. And they still don't use them. They didn't ever use those masks. They used nappies when the nappies were ordered. So when the order came out for nappies, they made their own nappies. They didn't pay attention to fabric, and none of them put in charcoal with the fine particulate remover. Okay? They made nappies that they could cut up filters and stick them in. So they would at least capture a little bit more, give themselves a little bit better protection. But you can't wear something like that very long because when you breathe out, whatever got in is getting trapped. So it has to have an exhaust port. And the mask that I gave them didn't have exhaust ports. I gave them colloidal silver and citric acid and told them to use multiple masks, because I gave them multiple masks. Clean the masks with the colloidal silver and the citric acid. Stick them in the sunshine and rotate their masks at each event. Told them to wear gloves and use citric acid or colloidal silver and clean everything they're getting. Because during that time period, November, December, January, February, the weather was conducive to transmitting the bioweapon through objects and through surfaces. Right now, it's not an effective bioweapon like that. They practically have to spray your mask, or where I see the soldiers hanging out is in the cold section. Okay? Coolers, spraying down the lettuce. Anything where there's a bacterial, fungus, or mold that the virus can live in, right? Has to have a media. Now, I'm sure I'm, in some people's minds, think I'm giving aid and comfort to the enemy by talking about how to spread it. If you don't know how to spread it, you can't protect yourself from the spread. If you don't know what to look for, you need to look for that ill person who's intentionally spreading their saliva and everything like that. And they're going to do it. They're gonna be touching the inside of their mask and touching stuff. They're gonna be adjusting their mask. They're gonna be doing it. They're gonna be spreading it somehow. They're gonna maybe have it in. They're gonna have something in their pocket where they're gonna put their hand in their pocket. We come out and touch an item, look at it, explore it, so, and figure, oh, this person's gonna do it. I walk through the IGA in town, and I walk through Costco. When I touch something, I clean it. I either create the cart, the buggy, so that nobody will touch my items once they're in it. They can just use the wand. Or I give them something to wash their hands before they touch my stuff. Why am I going to allow, if this virus is so transmittable that people got to wear a nappy, why in the world would I ever have a situation where somebody just touched another person's stuff and interacted with another person and then touch what I'm going to pick up? Why would I allow them to be 6 feet within 6 feet of me if they're wearing a nappy? We're watching, and it took 10 years to lop off heads in France. It took, 10 years in Ukraine. It takes 10 years of the Great Leap Forward. It takes 10 years, and they know it. But they're going to compress it to 5. So according to Deagle.com, it's being compressed. It's being compressed to 5 years. 5 years from now, you're going to see the results of this war, this invisible enemy. And the enemy is invisible only in the metaphor that people are programmed and damaged and they're ill. And everybody's wearing a mask, so you can't tell who's ill. So ill people are hiding themselves among you. It's a way for the ill to interact with you, and then as we go into the flu shot, the world is going to be upside down, and you're not going to realize, because you're not practicing washing your hands and sanitizing everything and being a soldier, because you're being attacked by soldiers. This virus is a bioweapon, and soldiers spread and use weapons. It's a weapon. Soldiers use weapons. So you got to understand that in order to survive this. Deagle.com. 2/3 of America is going to disappear according to them. These guys are so arrogant that they took their plan, carved it into stone, and erected a multi-language monument to telling you. They scribbled it. They scribed it. They created media. And if you don't know about the Georgia Guidestones, it's your own fault. You got to prepare. 102.3 FM, the village of Mount Solon, Virginia. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Gentlemen, prepare to defend